gorgeous individuals, it's Kav here, and today I'm going to be doing the BOOKTUBE Diversity Tag. The BOOKTUBE Diversity Tag is a tag that was recently created by Rachel Marie, so of course I will be linking her original video in the description below for you all to check it out if you are interested. Essentially, the BOOKTUBE Diversity Tag is a tag that has been created as a way to spread love to creators who don't often get the recognition they deserve in this community. And I don't know if she intentionally planned this tag at the time she did, but whether or not this was intentional, I think it definitely was released at the right time, because lately in the community there have been even more discussions surrounding problems considering diversity, specifically on BookTube, not just in the book community as a whole. And all this kind of stemmed from a person who was quite insensitive, to say the least, to problems considering diversity, especially considering people of color. And what I really like about this tag is that it took all of this negativity and put such a positive spin on it, and instead of focusing on the negativity and the people who were being not so kind, it instead chose to highlight people who are doing good work, and I think that's something so beautiful. You all know how much I love positivity and I love uplifting creators in the community who deserve it, so I'm really thankful to Rachel for creating this tag, because I never would have come up with this idea. I'm so glad it exists in the world today, and I'm so excited to be doing it. So I was actually tagged by two people to do this tag, and one of them was Rachel herself, and the other person was my friend Miriam, whose channel is Between Lines and Life, and I will be linking both of their videos in the description below, because both of them did a wonderful job with this tag, and I highly recommend you check out their work. And basically with this tag, there are 10 questions that have criteria for creators, and you answer with creators who fit that certain criteria. You get 2 chances to opt out, and this opt-out is not just a freebie, but instead it is a pledge to go find creators who fit that category to make sure you are diversifying your own BookTube subscription. I have chosen to try to focus on smaller creators for this tag, because I do think that there are a few bigger creators who do fit this criteria, but I think the point of this is to spread love to creators who don't get as much recognition in this community. So I chose to feature creators that are somewhat smaller, and I defined smaller as around 10,000 subscribers or less, and I think that's all I have to say for the intro. So without further ado, let's get started. Question number 1. A booktuber who is a person of color. So for this question, I have chosen 2 different booktubers to talk about in this video, and the first one I'm going to talk about is Lib, whose channel is Stories for Coffee. Lib has both a booktube channel and a blog and an incredible bookstagram, so she is really doing it all. And Lib comes from a Cuban heritage, and she's very open about discussing her experiences being Latinx and being Cuban on her channel and on her Twitter especially. I've seen her discuss that, and Lib is just someone I admire so much in this community. She's someone I'm so happy to call a friend, because she inspired me for so long before we finally met each other, and she's still someone who inspires me today. And I really love her videos because she just has such a calming and soothing tone about her, and just this personality that really inspires this kind of calmness and serenity in me, and I just really love that when I'm watching her videos. I just want to curl up on my couch with a cup of tea and watch her videos, and I think that is the best aesthetic. And the second booktuber I'm going to be talking about is Rocky, or Blonde with a Book, and Rocky is also actually Cuban. She is a queer Cuban booktuber, and lately she has gotten more and more open with discussing her Latinx heritage. She has done, I think, 2 tags recently about being Latinx, and again, Rocky is someone that I am so happy and honored to call a friend, because she has been so supportive of me, and I'm glad that I have finally gotten to know her better and know her personality, because she is hilarious, she is supportive, and she's everything you could possibly want in a friend and a booktuber. So I'm so glad to know her, and I highly recommend you support these 2 amazing Cuban booktubers. Question number 2. A booktuber who enjoys different genres or categories than you. So for this question, I chose a booktuber who has inspired me for so long in this community, and that is none other than Marina's, or My Name is Marina's. And I think that Marina's is one of the most underrated booktubers in this community, because she is absolutely phenomenal in the videos she creates, in the discussions she's willing to start and willing to continue, and I feel like more and more people need to be supporting her, because she genuinely does deserve it. She is one of the co-creators of Booknet Fest. She and Sam from Thoughts on Tombs started that, so that is another amazing, wonderful thing she has done. And Marina's is definitely someone who has different tastes than me in reading. I especially noticed that on her Twitter, because a lot of the books I like, she does not like as much, and that makes sense because we also do have a big age difference between us. So I read a lot more stereotypically teen books, so it doesn't bother me that she doesn't like the books I like that much, but she also has amazing discussions on her channel. She talks a lot about the importance of diversity. I remember a while ago she actually made a discussion about whether or not BookTube is too white, and it's one of my favorite videos that is on BookTube, and she continues to have these important conversations, and you all know how important that is to me, so of course I adore her with all of my heart, and I really do recommend that you check out her channel. Question number 3. A booktuber who was open about having a physical or invisible disability, for example chronic pain. For this question, I'm actually going to be going with the wonderful woman who tagged me, who is Miriam, and as a reminder, her channel is Between Lines and Life. So Miriam is actually someone I have gotten to know recently because we recently joined the same booktuber group chat. She is someone who is so wonderful, and again, I'm so honored to call her a friend and to know her in this community. And in her video, she discussed her identities, and part of what she discussed that she deals with is chronic pain. So I really wanted to shine light on that in this video because she was very open and honest about dealing with that in her video, which I think is something so amazing because these are difficult things to talk about, especially when it personally affects you. And I just think, again, Miriam is someone who really doesn't shy away from important conversations. This is something I've noticed more on her Twitter because I only recently started following her on BookTube, but I am so glad I did. But she definitely doesn't shy away from important conversations, and she really tries to bring important issues to light, and she's also so supportive and so sweet and so willing to talk about things, and she sees things with such a nuanced view, which is something I really appreciate. She is very good at not looking at things as completely black and white in this community, which I think a lot of people fall into, and I'm so glad that she doesn't do that because it's very important to me to see all perspectives about an issue and then come up with your conclusion on it. And I think Miriam has done a wonderful job in that. In discussions we've had about important issues in this community, she has been so open to really discussing them and to really dissecting the entirety of them, and that's something I really admire about her. So again, I highly recommend you check her out. Question number 4. A booktuber whose first language is not English. So for this question, I'm going to be recommending to you one of my close friends in the book community, and that is Gabby, aka Gabriella Pop. Gabby is someone I have known for over a year now in this community, I think. Honestly, it's been quite a long time that I've known her at this point, and her channel is far too underrated for me. I really think more people should be supporting her because she puts out such good content. And Gabby is originally Romanian, but she lives in Ireland right now, so her first language is not English, and she also is not a US-based booktuber. And again, Gabby is someone who really cares about the same issues I care about in terms of diversity and representation, and she also just makes very good content. She's very salty, and she really is the perfect typical millennial, and I adore that about her. She drinks way too much coffee, and I relate very strongly to that. And another thing I really admire about Gabby is her love for libraries. She does a lot of library book hauls on her channel, which again is something we don't talk about enough in this community because a lot of people just do bought books and bought book hauls. There's nothing wrong with that. I do that too, but I think it's really nice for people who might not be in that same situation to see that it's okay to get books from the library. You don't have to always buy books. That's completely valid. Gabby really engages in conversations about the importance of libraries, and she also just engages in important conversations in general and in very relatable content because she is one of the most relatable booktubers out there, and I adore her so much. So honestly, all I can really tell you is that I love Gabby. I'm so honored to call her a friend, and I really do recommend you check out her channel because she is such a lovely person and she is really down to earth. Question number 5. A booktuber who has a different personality than yours. For this question, I'm going to be going with Cassie, or Miss Sassy Cassie. So Cassie is someone who I think I became friends with around the end of 2017, and I'm so glad to call her a friend now. I've actually helped her host a few books for her book club, the Sassy Book Club, a few times earlier this year, and that was so much fun and so great. I think getting to have that experience with her really did bring me closer to her. So something I really like is that Cassie and I see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and I think we really agree about a lot of issues, but I think she also has a much different personality than me, and I really think that gets brought to her channel because of the amount of authenticity she has in her videos, and that's something I love and admire so much. She is so authentic in her content, and that is something that is so important to me as a viewer because I think it's really important that you trust the people you're watching, and when someone has that kind of authenticity and that kind of realness to them, it is so easy to trust them, and that's something I really notice about Cassie. And another thing I really admire about her is that she's very open to learning and very open to having important conversations, which I think is so important because no one knows everything, and it's really important to be open to learning more and to finding out more about issues or just things in the world that you might not know a lot about. That's something I really notice Cassie does a lot. So there are just a variety of reasons I admire her. She's just so herself without being apologetic to anyone about it, and I think that's the most badass thing you could possibly do too, so I absolutely adore that about her. And I think that we are actually very different and very similar in a lot of ways, so that's why I chose her for this question, because whereas I find that we have a lot of differences, we are also very similar, and that's a weird mix to be in, but it's something I really love about her, and I really do recommend you check her out. Question 6. A booktuber that comes from a different country. So again, for this question, I've chosen 2 different booktubers to talk about, and the first one is Felipe, or Felipe Heath, who is from Portugal. And Felipe is again one of my closer friends in the book community, and he is a friend that I've had for quite a while now. I think I've known him as long as I've known Gabby, and on his channel he does mostly book related content, but he actually also does do some fashion content because he is actually an aspiring model. But with him, I really don't think that that's going to be an aspiration for so long, because he is incredible and he is definitely going to achieve his dreams, and he totally deserves to. Felipe is again someone I'm so honored to call a friend, because he is the most supportive person in the world, and he is so sweet and so genuine, and I admire that so much about him. And he has this excitement for books that I love with all of my heart. When you see him doing an unboxing, there's this excitement about him that's so contagious, and I start to feel that too while I'm watching his videos, and I absolutely admire that with all of my heart. He's someone who's very not apologetic about who he is. He is who he is, and he is very proud of that, and that's something I admire so much and I think is so wonderful. And I just think that he is so wonderful in every way possible, so please do support him. And the second booktuber I'm going to be talking about is Kevs from KJ Reads Pages, and Kevs is from Puerto Rico, which is technically a territory of the United States. I'm aware of that, but it's not treated as such, so I decided to credit him as well, because when we think of the United States, we think of the 50 states, and those are generally the booktubers we support, because booktubers in Puerto Rico kind of get the same treatment as booktubers who may not be located in the United States. So like Felipe, Kevs is someone who is very unapologetic about who he is and his opinions on things, and that's something again I love and admire so much with all of my heart. He is so sweet and so supportive. It's honestly astounding how supportive he is, because you might think you're supportive, but then you meet Kevs and you're like, oh, I could never reach that level. And he also has a lot of conversations about the importance of diversity and representation. He talks about it so much, but again, he is willing to see more than the black and white point of view, which I think is so important, and he is very good about that as well. So I think that he is just such a lovely human being. He is so sweet but so honest, and that is a hard combination to reach, but he does it so well, and I love that, and I love him, and I highly recommend you check both of these boys out. Question number 7. A booktuber who is openly LGBTQIAP+ or has a different gender identity than you. And yet again, I have 2 different booktubers who I want to talk about for this question. The first booktuber I'm going to be talking about is Adriana from the channel Perpetual Pages. Adriana is a queer Hispanic booktuber. They are pan, aromantic, and non-binary. They are again a booktuber that is far too underrated, and they really deserve far more support than they get. So Adriana has this really calming and soothing video quality about them as well. Their voice, their video setup, it's just so calming and soothing. But yet again, they are someone who really discusses the importance of diversity and representation, and has important discussions, and really works on supporting the diversity representation movement in the book community. I admire them so much with all of my heart. Literally every single ounce of my being is inspired by them and aspires to one day be as great as they are, because they are absolutely phenomenal in everything they do, and they really are so passionate about what they believe in, and that is something I can relate to so much. And it's also something I think is really important, to be passionate about what you're doing, and I really see that in their behavior and their dialogue. They are so eloquent and well spoken. They really get their points across well. You know what their argument is, you know what they're trying to say, and they say it well. They make you believe it no matter what. They are just one of the most amazing people I have the honor of knowing, and I highly recommend you support them. The second booktuber I'm going to be talking about is one of my absolute best friends, and that is Lindsay, aka the Hufflepuffle. Lindsay is a bisexual booktuber from Canada, and I am so honored to call her one of my closest friends, because she is just one of the greatest people I have the honor of knowing. Like everyone I have mentioned in this video, Lindsay is someone who is so inspirational, and she is so well spoken. She is the epitome of passion. She is so supportive and so sweet. Just everything good you could possibly look for in a human, you will find in Lindsay. Lindsay just has this quality about her that makes you feel so welcome and so loved by her. And another thing she does so well is produce her videos. She is so artistic in how she creates her videos, and I honestly have no idea how she does it. I could aspire to be her for the next 10 years and I would never reach her level. She is so brilliant in her video production, in her creativity, and in just her entire existence. She is also a writer. She is writing like 20 different thousand projects right now, and whatever I have had the honor of reading of hers is just phenomenal. So I really just think that she is the epitome of everything you could possibly look for in a friend, in a booktuber, in a human being, because she is so brilliant, so supportive, so loving, so passionate, so eloquent, and just brilliant. And I really do recommend you support her because she is doing such amazing work in this community. She does it with such creativity, with such vigor, with such passion, and I highly recommend you support both of these amazing queer booktubers. Question number 8. A booktuber who was open about having a mental illness. For this question, I'm going to be going with another one of my friends, and that is Rhiannon, and her channel is Crescent Moon Reads. Lately, Rhiannon has been more and more open about her experiences with mental illness. She even recently made a video about mental illness, and she has been talking about it quite a lot on her Twitter, so I really admire her for opening up and having important discussions that need to be had. Something I really like about Rhiannon, like so many of the people I have mentioned in this video, is how unapologetic she is in being herself. Rhiannon is a witch, and she has really taught me so much about what that means, because I had all these preconceived notions of what I thought witchcraft and witches were, but Rhiannon has really opened my eyes up to the fact that I knew absolutely nothing, and she is so honest about that. She has a lot of open discussions about that. She talks about it a lot on her Twitter. She talks about it quite a lot even on her YouTube channel, so I really admire her for discussing that part of her life so openly and honestly, because it's something that not a lot of people understand and a lot of people might be closed off to, but she has really taught me so much, and I admire her so much for that. And similarly, she has been so open lately in her discussions of mental health and mental illness, and again, that's something I want to commend her for, because that is another topic that gets stifled far too much, and she really is battling that, and she's doing it with this openness and honesty, but yet still with this quality of kindness, and that's something I really admire and look up to. And I'm really glad I finally know her in this community, because she is so wonderful to know and so wonderful to support, and I admire her so much, so I really do recommend you support her. Question number 9. A booktuber who is 10 years older or younger than you. So again, for this question, I have two answers, and I cannot tell you for a fact that these two booktubers are actually 10 years older than me, but I am pretty young in this community, so I chose two people who are quite well into their adulthood, and I'm going to make the assumption that they are at least 10 years older than me, because it is very likely that they are. But in case either of you are not, I apologize. I did not know, and I did not want to go around asking people how old they were if they weren't comfortable sharing that information. So the first booktuber I'm going to be talking about is Trina from the channel Between Chapters. And Trina is one of the kindest people you will ever meet in your entire life. I really don't know what else to say, because Trina is just so sweet and so kind, and I adore her and admire her so much. Something I really want to commend her for is that she adds closed captions to all of her videos, and that is something I am working hard towards doing. But I think that is just an example of how Trina really fights for accessibility and inclusivity for all people, and she actively does that. She puts in the work to do that. It's not something that she says she cares about but then doesn't actively try to do. Trina actually recently became a mother, and she is still putting videos out, and that is ridiculously amazing, because I couldn't even imagine doing that after I had a baby. But the fact that she is just so commendable, and I genuinely think that she is one of the best mothers out there, because by knowing her and calling her a friend, I can tell you that she is someone that is perfect as a maternal figure, because she is so loving, she is so kind, she is so accepting, she is so inclusive, she is so intelligent, she is everything you could possibly want from a person. She is hardworking, just every good quality you think of. Yeah, it probably applies to Trina, and that is incredible. I think that's something that is so incredible. I find that it is such a great honor to know her and to call her a friend and to get to support her as a mother, as a content creator, and as a woman, because she is a brilliant being and she genuinely deserves all the support and more. So definitely subscribe to her channel and support her, because she truly deserves it. And the second booktuber I'm going to be sharing for this question is Jean, aka Happy Indulgence. Jean is someone who I met more recently in the community, but I am so honored to have met her, because again, she is just another inspirational, brilliant human being. Jean, again, is someone with this passion and this livelihood that I feel when I watch her videos. She has this quality about her that when I watch her videos, I get that same excitement, I get that same passion for reading, and I love that so much. And again, she is someone who is very active in conversations about the importance of diversity, of representation. She talks quite a lot about it on her Twitter, and she actively works to make the book community a more inclusive and accepting place, and I love that so much about her. And I'm sad that it's taken me so long to know her, because I wish I had been supporting her for so long now, because she genuinely truly deserves it. She really deserves so much support. She is doing amazing work in this community, and she is just an amazing person. She is so sweet, she is so lovable, she is so kind, and again, she's someone who's so intelligent and inspiring. She has this happiness and this excitement to her that is so contagious, and she's still so honest and open in her conversations. She still talks about important issues while still having this happy quality about her that you feel when you watch her videos. You get excited when you watch her videos, no matter how bad of a mood you're in, and that is amazing, and that is incredible, and she is amazing, and she is incredible. So I really do recommend that you support her channel. Question 10. A booktuber who is open about being neurodiverse. For example, they have dyslexia or ADD or autism, and sadly this is actually the question I have to use as my so-called freebie of sorts. I really spent a lot of time putting together this list, and I couldn't find anyone to fit this category. It is possible that someone I'm subscribed to is open about this and I'm just not aware, but regardless, the fact that I couldn't find anyone does say something about my subscription feed. So if any of you know a creator who meets this criteria, please let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to support more neurodiverse creators, and I think that's something that's very important. And I just want to say, I spent a lot of time curating this list. Of course, there are people who I love and support who are left out of this list, and that is not personal. Again, I made an active decision to purposely try to keep it to smaller creators, but even then there were some creators that were left out, and that is not because I don't love them as much as the others. I just had to pick and choose for this video, because if I could just give you all a list of everyone I love, I would, and honestly I should. But for the sake of this video, I did keep it to 1 to 2 creators for each question, because I just feel like that's kind of what it was asking for. And after doing this tag and looking at my answers, I think that I am very good at finding creators of color, queer creators, and creators who have mental illnesses, because those are all things that affect me in my own personal life. But something I really want to actively work towards more is to work to support more disabled creators, or more neurodiverse creators, or more creators who don't get as much recognition, but they don't exactly deal with the same things as me, because I think that's something I've been lacking in and something I need to actively work harder to do. So if any of you have any recommendations of creators who meet that criteria, please let me know in the comments below, because I really want to further expand my subscription box, further expand the people I support, because I think that's one of the greatest things about the booktube community, how supportive everyone is here, how inclusive and accepting so much of this community is. That is by far one of the absolute best things, and so I want to work more towards achieving that goal that I have. And that is about all for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, because that stuff makes me happy. And as I said, please do comment down below and let me know any of your favorite creators who fit some of this criteria and who might not be as well known as other creators, because I think that we all could share some love, and maybe someone else in the comments will find a creator they love because you shared their name. And as usual, all of my social media and my Goodreads will be in the description below if you'd like to follow me anywhere else. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are. Please remember that you are beautiful and you deserve the world, and I will see you soon for a brand new video. Goodbye!